In this video, we will review arrays, available within the Java programming language. You should already have had exposure to arrays in the VTC course Java 7 Language Basics, so we will quickly be reviewing it in more depth. An array is a group of variables, called elements or components, containing values that all have the same type. Arrays are objects, so they're considered reference types. As you'll soon see, what we typically think of as an array is actually a reference to an array object in memory. The elements of an array can be either primitive types or reference types. To refer to a particular element in an array, we specify the name of the reference to the array and the position number of the element in the array. The position number of the element is called the element's index or subscript. Here's an example of an array with primitive types. We'll call it C. Here's our primitive type array. Here's an example of an array with reference type. Now let's look at different ways of creating and initializing an array. First, let's look at just creating an array with a certain size. The elements of the array do not have a value at this point. So here we are declaring an array. And then here we create the new array object. We can also use an array initializer. You can create an array initializer and initialize its elements with an array initializer, which is a comma-separated list of expressions called an initializer list, enclosed in braces. Let's see how this works. So here, as you can see, we have the array. Instead of giving it a size, we're going to actually put values in it. In this case, the array length is determined by the number of elements in the initializer list. So the length of this array would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. Now because we start at 0, when we loop over it, we'd actually begin with 0, 1, 2, and 3. Now let's access the values of the array elements. First, we're going to create a for loop with a counter that starts at 0. We're going to make it less than the array's length. And we're going to increment the counter every time it comes around. We're going to format the output so that it's readable using the printf method. Let's run our code real quick and see what happens. Okay, here we have the position and then we have the value. So at position 0 is 10, at position 1 is 20, so forth. Another way of accessing the values of an array is using the enhanced for loop, or for statement. The enhanced for statement iterates through the elements of an array without using a counter, thus avoiding the possibility of stepping outside the array. Here I have code already written. We have a system.out printf with headers, position, and value. This is the enhanced for loop. It will look much different. As you can see, the expression here actually creates this variable number with the value of the element in the next position. I'm going to format the output. And output the number. Let's comment this out. And now let's run our program. As we can see here, without the need to access the position, this expression actually gives us the values. The enhanced for statement simplifies the code for iterating through an array. Note, however, that the enhanced for statement can be used only to obtain array elements. It cannot be used to modify elements. If your program needs to modify elements, use the traditional for statement, which is the counter-controlled for statement. This concludes our discussion of Java arrays.